In the heart of Kuala Lumpur, where the city's vibrant lights and lively streets framed my existence, I found myself entangled in a web of love and emotions, a labyrinth that I navigated with inexplicable complexity. My story had always been one of unrequited love, with my heart giving more than it received. On rare occasions when love was finally reciprocated, I, for reasons I couldn't comprehend, would find ways to poison it, transforming it into a toxic dance of pain and despair, pushing the relationship to the brink of oblivion. For me, the emotions of love and hate shared a complex duality, both reserved for individuals who held a significant place in my life. In my skewed perception, the only apparent solution to the tumultuous nature of my relationships was to reduce them to a state of Taluqi, or nothingness, a term I struggled to precisely define. However, in my distorted philosophy, I believed this concept could liberate me from the emotional bonds that had entangled me. Nothingness was what I deemed myself deserving of, and it seemed like the optimal resolution, ensuring that the person I once loved would hold no sway over me and would be spared from any suffering. I recognize this may sound like the ramblings of a mad hatter, but that's the essence of it. I find it challenging to articulate it further. One fateful evening, my dear friend Enigma forcefully pulled me out of my self-imposed solitude and convinced me to join him at a shady deeper dance bar in Kuala Lumpur, humorously named Mumbai Se. It was an environment where alcohol flowed freely, and dancers on the stage captivated the audience with their mesmerizing performances. Despite my commitment to abstain from alcohol, I found myself seated right next to the stage with a bottle on the table. The allure of drinking, the company of women, the thrill of gambling, and the surrounding atmosphere all served as haunting reminders of my wretched history. While I had managed to move forward, that past never seemed to fully release its grip on me. I observed as my friend confidently ordered one of the most expensive bottles of red wine in the establishment. To his surprise, he learned that the drinking chapter of my life was now firmly closed, and alcohol and drugs had relinquished their hold on me. The bottle seemed to resonate with my name, each drop beckoning me as if it held a personal invitation to partake in its electrifying sensations and revisit the heights I had once left behind. It was a peculiar sensation, as if my former beloved were calling out to me. Each sip taken by others in the room felt as though it was intended for me, every droplet whispering my name, enticing me to let it touch my lips, to feel its essence roll on my tongue, to blend with my own inner intoxications, cascade down my throat like a waterfall, unite with my heart and mind, and reawaken my long-lost soul. It was as if I had shattered her heart into a million pieces when I chose a glass of orange juice over her. In the midst of the chaos, a dancer named Anuradha emerged, a vision of grace and beauty. She stood out from the rest, but I knew she was Enigma's keep, and that knowledge restrained me from pursuing my attraction. As the night unfurled, our friends grew increasingly intoxicated, reveling on the stage and tossing wads of cash into the air. I realized I needed an escape from the chaos, and I decided to call it a night. Enigma, equally intoxicated, asked me to take the car and assured me he would catch a cab later. I ventured through the passages of the bar towards the parking lot, and that's when fate intervened. In the dimly lit lobby, a solitary door opened, and through it emerged Anuradha. Our eyes met, and in that brief moment it felt as though we'd met before. The connection was inexplicable, and I offered to drive her home, to which she agreed, the unspoken tension palpable in the air. During the car ride, we made a spontaneous decision to savor a late-night meal at Jalan Allure. Our conversation flowed effortlessly, and it felt as though the universe conspired to intertwine our stories and pasts. Her romantic history mirrored mine, with the critical distinction that she had endured toxic love, while I had been the one to bestow it. It seemed as if fate had orchestrated our meeting, and a magical moment unfolded when our hands brushed, fingers gently intertwining, forging an unspoken bond. Unable to resist, I took her hand and led her to the Corona Inn Hotel, where we secured a room. Our lips met in a passionate kiss, igniting a fire that seemed to stoke our deepest emotions. As we delved into each other's souls, tears welled up in our eyes, exposing the profound pains and vulnerabilities we shared. We gradually ceased kissing. Resting on the bed, our hearts laid bare. An unspoken conversation flowed between us, words forming in a way I can't elucidate, forging an inexplicable connection that defied all explanation. Our souls united on a level that, even to this day, eludes comprehension. An indescribable connection formed, a bond that transcended the boundaries of understanding. Time lost its relevance as we bared our hearts and connected on a profound level. The intimate details of our conversation will forever be a cherished secret, but the connection between us was undeniable. I can't recall how long our conversation lasted, or when we drifted into slumber, but the memory lingers vividly. When I woke at 5 a.m. to offer my prayers, an unexplained desire to apologize welled up within me. It puzzled me, but as I gazed upon her, peacefully asleep like an angel, my heart yearned to voice it, to let her know that I was sorry. Gathering my thoughts, I silently completed my prayers. When I turned back to the bed, however, it was empty. Anuradha had vanished. Her clothes, her bag, everything had disappeared, and I couldn't recall her departure or hearing a sound. I shrugged it off, presuming she must have left in a hurry, and the excitement of the prospect of seeing her again soon overrode any concerns about her sudden exit. I rushed to Inam's place and shared the intense details of that night. To my utter shock, Inam's words hit me like a ton of bricks. "Malik, have you lost your mind? Anuradha was with me all night. In fact, she's sleeping in my bedroom right now." A tempest of emotions swept over me. How could this be? My heart raced, my mind in turmoil, and I hurried to see her, hoping it was a misunderstanding. In her place, I found a complete stranger. Inam's voice of reason cut through the chaos. "Malik, this is Anuradha. You must be mistaken or have been with someone else." A wave of relief washed over me as I realized the woman in his bedroom wasn't my beloved Anuradha. My heart swelled with hope, and I was determined to reunite with her. That evening, with Inam by my side, I returned to Mumbai Se, driven by an overwhelming desire to find her. When I asked the bar staff about Anuradha, they had no record of any other dancer by that same name. Determined to find answers, I requested to view their CCTV footage. Initially, they hesitated, but with a little persuasion, and Inam's influence as a longtime patron, they eventually relented and allowed us access to the footage. The CCTV footage revealed a baffling image. It portrayed me walking alone, engaged in a conversation with an invisible entity, and subsequently driving out of the parking lot unaccompanied. The door from which Anuradha had supposedly exited was nowhere to be seen. I was in a state of shock. How could I have been alone? I vividly recalled Anuradha being with me, yet the evidence contradicted my memory, leaving me speechless. Desperate for answers, I headed to the restaurant where we had dined the night before. The waitress recollected my presence but recounted a different narrative. According to her, I had dined alone, and my behavior had been peculiar, as I appeared to be muttering to myself. She said, "You were here last night dining alone. We thought you might have been under the influence of alcohol or drugs, as you kept talking to yourself." The reality shattered my recollection, and the enigmatic mystery only deepened. I rushed to the Corona Inn Hotel, believing the CCTV footage there might offer clarity. It showed me checking in alone, but my right arm seemed to lag behind, as if I were dragging something or holding someone, yet there was nothing in my grip. The pieces of the puzzle didn't align. I couldn't make sense of it all. Inam suggested it might have been a result of intoxication, but I knew that the experience had been all too real. It wasn't a drunken hallucination, nor was I descending into madness. For weeks on end, I confined myself to my room, locked in a battle with the enigma of that night. The memories refused to align with the stark reality, leaving me in a bewildering state. It was as if I had been thrust into an alternate dimension, where the lines between reality and illusion blurred. My friends believed I had lost my sanity, and I'm aware that viewers might consider it a fantastical tale, but I can assure you it was as genuine as any experience can be. I held firmly to the belief that what transpired that night was undeniably real. Years passed, and I tried to bury the memory, but the lesson it carried became increasingly evident. That night was about a realization, a revelation of the gravest sin I had repeatedly committed, the sin of causing profound pain to those I loved. My delusional philosophy of Taluqi, the pursuit of nothingness, had been wrong. The pain of nothingness was deeper and more agonizing than love or hatred, and it was a burden I had carried with me for far too long, an unforgivable sin. Thank you for watching AIK Dastan, where every tale is a testament to the human spirit and every voice resonates with the truth as they perceive it.